What up, traders? How we doing out there? Welcome to the one and only Money Mitch. We're going to go ahead and get into it today. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the discount stores and why I am long on target. Of course, we're going to take a look at what is going on in basic materials. Looks like we got a little bit of a rebound. We'll talk about what was strong today. And also, was this just a gap fill on the SPY? Or was it a big little bull run at the end there? We'll talk about it right here on Money Mitch. Like always, guys, hit the like button. Let's get this show started. It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now, we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch. How we doing out there? Looks like there's only about 37 of you. What is going on, guys? We need some more people in here. Please do me the favor. Hit the like button. Looks like there's only 43 people in here. I never do a show for 43 people. Looks like cannabis must have been lower in traffic. We need to get this going, so I need you guys out there to support us. Hit the like button, and let's go ahead. If you need to, hit the share button. Do whatever you need to do. We need some more people in here. Help a brother out. I'm trying to get you guys some information here, but I mean, let's just go. I guess it will just be you guys that get the gold. Let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. Matt, Eli, what's up out there? Daryl, Ashton, Eagle in the house. Jessica, what's up? Glenn in the house. What's going on, man? Let's go ahead and let's get right into it. Let's talk about what we saw in the market today and where the good traders are. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it. All right. Here, guys, you'll see the SPY here. The SPY kind of chopping back up. The reason why I call it a gap fill is that if you see here, on the 6, we kind of gap down, right? And so if you look here, we're trying to fill up into this area, and we got close to there. If you see, we closed the wick, but we didn't close the bodies, and that's okay. It could have just been the close up to right around here, the 450 area. But I was looking to see if we were going to close up into that area, and you could see we're right back down into the 447 area. Now we bounced off of there, went back towards 448. We're going to keep looking to see if we can get above that shadow area. So we're looking above the 451 area, 451.13s that will close into that. And you can see here, the body's actually a little bit closer towards right about 450.88. And so we'll look at that level tomorrow to see if we can get above there. If not below 445, that's the downside continuation. All right, let's take a look there at the Qs. What happened in the Qs today? Similar, popping on up, but popping up to what? Resistance here, guys. And you can see here the resistance right here around 356 has not gone away. Let's actually take that line off. This is the downside look. Below 352s, you don't want to see the Qs take that out. That could mean that stocks like AMD take out the lows. Stock like NVIDIA could take out the lows. We'll see what happens on those. You can see that they're weak right now. But of a lot of that, we're going to be focusing to see if we get that downside continuation in the Qs. What's going on, Chase? Black Magic, I appreciate you here. Jim, what's going on, man? Colin, hey, don't worry about it. Low viewers, we can't worry about the low viewers. One thing we will do is get to the gold, get the stocks out there that were hot and what was not. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Riff Raff, did you end up getting Target? Missed out on that one big time. Of course, we got the Target. We're going to talk about that coming on up. CGC, Tilray, and Crone. Don't remind me, Clay. CGC definitely burned me a little bit last week. So we'll see what happens on that one. CGC. All right, financial forecaster, what's going on out there? And Juan, let's fucking go. Forget the let's do this. Let's fucking go. Let's go. All right, let's see what we got out here and what moved up today. You can see healthcare really ripping the last 2 days. Looks like it's just been getting off the floor. If you can take a look here at the sector overall, you can see that we were pretty beat down. So it just kind of bounced back. It looks like it was the beat down sector that they just brought it back. The real question is, are we going to get back up here towards 5,100? I'm not so sure in healthcare. But let's take a look at some of the industry outlooks and how does that look, right? And so you can take a look here at diagnostics and research. And what do you see? Of course, you're seeing a kind of a good lift, decent lift here off the bottom there. Some names that guys can look at is NDRA. You can see how this stock pushed on up, but this is a pure penny stock here. And Neo, you got ANIX, HTGM. So a whole bunch of names that kind of move. This is probably about the only one that I would kind of stand out. That is remember, like I always like to look for standout patterns. This looks like a standout pattern to me. Vivo here, nice little pattern, nice rising triangle here. And rising wedge here into the breakout above 27. And that doesn't look that bad. Does have some levels up there at 29. So take a look at it for Vivo to get a day 2 move. Medical distribution. This one actually looks like it's at the top, right? And so this is one that we can actually start paying attention and look for a nice little rip here. So Cardinal Health is one that I'll start pointing out. You can take a look here at the weekly and you can see the downtrend that this stock has had for a while. Now coming really out of this trend, now running into another trend line that you just broke out of, and you held the pullback. So that 56 held well. We'll look to see if this can get up there towards 62. CAH is one of those. ABC, look at this one pushing off there. Really strong area, an area that I haven't looked at before. McKesson Corp here, medical distribution, doing really well. PDCO, this one could catch up. This is what I call a laggard type of trade, where you have that weekly that's trying to catch up here towards a big breakout in the industry. And we're going to take a look to see if this can really get strong and get on up there towards the 36. We'll see what happens on that one. Omni is another one that's down. Actually, his PBH could get off the floor too. Medical distribution's doing well. Healthcare plans today doing really well. Humana looking like that's trying to set up for a nice breakout through the 460s. We'll see what happens in these healthcare stocks. There's not many times, I'll tell you right now, that I look at healthcare, but hey, right now it is moving. So my rule is just go where the money's flowing, not where I want to necessarily trade every single day. Because if it was that, then I'd probably just stick to like one or probably a basket of like 5 stocks and just trade those. But I like to move where the money's rotating. And right now it looks like healthcare definitely getting a lift. The other sector that did get a lift today, and you guys can take a look at this, was, of course, basic materials. We have been watching basic materials make a run. First, it was kind of it was coal really leading the party. Then we saw what gold joined the party, and also what aluminum was taking off at that time. Copper was taking off at that time. Then we saw steel jump into the party. We saw stocks like Cliffs. We saw stocks like US Steel, X, ripping to the moon, going on up, and then all of a sudden pulling on back here. The real question was that a big pullback that we got on Wednesday? And today we got the basic materials to bounce back. So let's take a look at some of those stocks. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the basic materials and what moved today. As you can see, coal leading the party, man. Coal is just really strong. And this was one that I'm going to actually watch tomorrow because I actually got stopped out of this earlier in the week. And you guys can see here, METC pulling on back here. Look at this hourly setup now that we had this nice bottoming action here. We're going to watch to see if it can continue holding above 16 tomorrow. Looking for a move up there towards 17. That's METC. BTU, strong close here. Take a look at the daily chart. Looks like we have multiple levels that is trying to get through the 28. We'll see if we can get that pushback and get back up there towards the 28. One thing that I will tell you about BTU that it does well is every time that we're cutting through the 9 EMA, that's that light blue line that you're seeing there, every time that we've cut through, we've come back roaring. So pay attention to those because you could catch that run with that 9 EMA, understanding that, looking for a pattern like that. When you get back above the 9 EMA, you can use that as the risk and try to get that next drive on up. Not a bad day there for BTU. And for that being mentioned, I like this other one, CEIX. So I'll go ahead and I'll mention that one. We've been talking about that one for a while now. Slowly stair-stepping up, not like BTU just ripping through the moon, but also one to keep on watch. This NC has lately been really strong also, so take a look at this NC. And just take a look at all the coal players, right? They all could get moving. Look at this SXC. XXC looks like a nice little move above 9 tomorrow. Could get us moving here. I'm actually going to send an alert for us at 9:11 there on SXC, and that's Suncoke Energy. We'll see if it gets moving. Agricultural inputs doing good today. Seed coming out with news. It went up through 9, but this one goes so fast up and also right back down. So just be careful. One thing that I'll tell you about seed is that the low share float and also the low volume creates this illiquidity where a lot of times you're seeing the spread open up, gap down. And so you got to be careful with a stock like seed. Always understand that when you're trading stocks, it's also important to take a look at the volume and take a look at the spread and how the stock trades, because you don't want to get caught in a play like this where it was going up there really quickly and I saw the spread just start dropping down, opening up, and then when it hit 9, man, it just gave up that really quickly, right back down there towards 823, even though it looked like a nice breakout there towards the 965. All right, let's go ahead. Care to deconstruct the MNT play from this morning? That is 100% what I'll get into, Black Magic. I'll get into that. That's Momentous. I actually even took a later in the day trade that I'll let you guys know about that. Took it really into the close, and I took it off the 430s. Got a nice little, 15-cent scalp. It wasn't anything big. It was just to take a little bit more because it seemed like it was building up for a nice breakout. Marley, take it easy, man. Marley's having a party behind me. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at some of the stocks here. You can see he's hanging out in the back there. All right, let's go ahead. Let's look at some other ones here. Silver doing well today, bouncing on back. Let's take a look at the daily chart on silver. Reason why I'm pointing it out is that we did recover on silver, even though silver was looking bad here. And you can take a look here. What are you seeing, guys? You're seeing a nice symmetrical triangle kind of flag pattern. Look for it to get back above that 9 EMA into the 500 for me. This is the sector, the industry chart. But let's take a look at some of the names, see if they look similar to this. So look at EXK here, Endeavor Silver Corp. This gets back above 5, I'd be interested. So I'm going to keep an eye out on this one. It's at 468, getting that nice bottoming action. And this one looks like more like a flag. Could come back up through that 5. So we'll be paying attention to see if we can get it into that price point here. I'll even send an alert there at 497 to let us know on live trading. FSM, very similar charts, right? You see how these are very similar charts. And so we're going to be watching to see if this one can get above 4 tomorrow and make a run up. The biggest players, of course, you guys can watch like AG, ASM, MAG is another one here. They're very similar charts. You can see these pullbacks. We're going to look for the whole dollar breakouts tomorrow. All right, let's keep going. Look at steel here. Steel pulling on back here. The real question is, did we find that bounce today, right? So we did kind of recover, which is not a bad sign there. One thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw this as support now, and we're going to pay attention to see if we break that tomorrow, or do we start breaking on out? So let's take a look at X, see how we're performing on that. You can see that very slight pullback. Went to kind of to the 35.25 level, went up there to 36.50s. The real question tomorrow is I wouldn't want to see it break back down through like 35.50s. I want to see it kind of hold up here, maybe come back towards 36 and then just continue that pushback. We'll see what Cliff and does also, because this one actually retraces faster. But if you take a look here at like the 4-hour chart, you can see how there was some bottoming action right around that 30.50 mark. So look for maybe a pullback to 31, but it shouldn't come back towards that 30.50 on Cliffs. Gold not doing bad, coming on back there, really kind of staying in a choppy zone right now. So you'll see what happens in gold, but for right now, it's kind of on the sideways action. All right. The only one that did and had turned around hard was aluminum. Aluminum turned down pretty significantly. We'll see what happens if this can come back roaring tomorrow. But right now, it did end the day in the red. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into some other stocks out there. Energy is what I thought led us back up there today, because energy started coming back. Basic materials, those are the ones that I feel have held the SPY up in the first place. When we were coming back, oil was ripping, basic materials were ripping. And if you take a look here at XOM, I'm going to put that one on your radar. If you guys like oil plays right now, I do like this setup. It is setting up to go through 86 and get back up there towards 89 and 90. I'm going to be paying attention to this one, ExxonMobil. It does look like a nice setup there. And you can take a look at some other names if you want to watch. And you can take a look at how those are setting up. Is it look like it's only one of these setting up, or is it a bunch of these setting up? Because look at Chevron Group. It looks like it wants to go through that 170 mark. And so I'm going to keep watching that one. And this is the overall index for me on this oil, gas, and integrated. And you can tell right here, you're setting on up to break through that resistance. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to keep running through here. I'm sorry that I'm not catching up too much in the chat. Want to keep going and get you guys as much information as I can get in 30 minutes. All right, let's keep going to some other plays out there. Long term, I just want to throw this out there. Have you guys ever seen O'Reilly's long-term chart? This was the first time I really go back this far to see this. But look at O'Reilly. This has been an absolute monster. Why didn't I buy this when I graduated high school? Could have got a nice 1,800%, man. Come on, guys. AZO, AutoZone 2, man. Look at these rips. I've never owned these, but honestly, I just wanted to bring them up. That blows me away. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look here at some other stocks here. Let's take a look at MNTS here, Momentous, how I traded it today. And there's different setups here. So I'm going to show you how I kind of worked into these and how we traded it, right? And so in pre-market, you had these setups of 1 up, 1 down, 2 up, 2 down, 3 up. And so a lot of the things that we need to do is we need to hold support here. You can see here we came back to that support multiple times. We even clicked at going towards, like we were going to 375, giving you multiple bottom looks. And then when we recovered, that's when I started feeling better. I didn't really add to this until we got back into this 410 area. So we had this pop into the 440s, and then we were able to actually sell some of the shares. And then we bought some back here when it came back to the 415 area, and we were able to get some there and then add again there at the 420s, looking for the breakout above, and selling some into that first move into that 450. And then what did we do? We watched this come back here. And then what did I do? I added here at the 445, holding to a 440 and 430 out. What happened here when it started turning around at 440, I just set the break even, and it ended up stopping me out on the rest of the shares at 430 when it dropped down here. Now, when it dropped down, I let that go. You know, it was a great win for me already. You know, in my eyes, this is, especially in my capital, this is a pretty good win here for me and Momentous. After that point, I was just watching it go sideways here into the 3 p.m. hour. When I started seeing that recovery, I took a look at the hourly chart, and I could see a 1 up, 1 down, 2 up, 2 down, 3 up. And if it holds this 420 here now, it's going to be looking really good around this 416 level. I wanted to make sure it holds that and really starts coming back towards the 450s. So then when I started seeing that, I said, you know what? Let's go for it here. It started coming back there towards the 421s, gave the fake out to break back down. And then when I started seeing it come back on up through the 430s, boom, I jumped in it there at the 430s, saw a quick pop into the 450s, thought I was going to get a big lift. So what I did was I sold 2/3 of the scalp into that push, was looking for the push above 450s, and then it ended up not getting around here. And then right about 358, I just said, you know what, take the profit. That's it. We're good. And that wasn't a bad trade there on Momentous, right? We gave ourselves a shot, and we gave ourselves the outlook for it to make that big move. And then we could still watch it tomorrow to see if it gets above that 442 and actually starts closing up there to the 5. We're going to keep this one on watch here. This is Momentous. And one of the things to mention is anytime that you get a stock to kind of mention SpaceX, a big stock like Apple or something like that, and it's a smaller stock, it could get the stock moving there. So we'll see what happens there. Your view on industrials as a sector, Cat in particular, says Manu. Honestly, that's a good one to talk about. So I'll go ahead and I'll get into that. If you guys got a stock you guys want to take a look at, definitely throw it on up. And you hate O'Reilly, they underpay and overwork their people. I'm sure. I mean, that I'm sure, Tiny. So maybe I shouldn't like O'Reilly so much. But I do know some people that have owned an AutoZone, and they didn't seem too bad. But we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look there. You had a good trade on SBFM. I'll take a look at that chart also right after this. All right, let's go to the industrial area. And one of the areas that I was even thinking about taking some buying into was DE's pullback. And so the reason I'm bringing DE's pullback is because we're watching this come back here towards the 400 after we watched the breakout on this go up there to 440s. That's kind of the level that I was looking for the pullback area. And so somewhere in that 400, we could get back into this zone. And that's why this green box was drawn. What we did was we drew this green box to watch us go through it and then come back for a throwback breakout, right? And so let's take a look at CAT here. And so for CAT, I'm going to call out around this 210 level is really where I'm looking at it. Because if we take a look here and the recent move, we're going to draw the recent move, about 50% gets us right around into this box area. And so around the 208 to 204 area is really where we should be watching, because that's around the 50% retracement of the last move. And then you could see that next leg come on up. Right now, I'm watching to see if it comes back towards that daily 200 SMA. Also, you can see it, the purple line right there. If it can come back into that area, I like it here, but I do think it's going to pull back a little bit after making that good run that you got there. All right, let's go ahead. Is it time to get back into next, says Troy? I'll take a look at that one right after Tiny's SBFM. All right, let's take a look there at SBFM. This was an interesting one, and man, whew, I was actually looking at this one after hours because someone sent me the message and tried to get me to kind of break this one down. I told them, you know what? I don't know anything about this stock, like the actual stock, but I will break it down technically for you. And I did the fibs, and I drew out the kind of the triangle here that you broke out of. And one of the things that I was pointing at was, could we get that breakout through the fib extension, which was that 161, which was a breakout to the $8 level? And that was the level I was really looking for today. And you can see this thing is still riding on up. But one thing to very note is this trend line ran right into it, into the close. That was a great opportunity to minimize the risk and reward there. You could have gotten in there near the $6 price point on the pullback towards the close and risk off of this 587, maybe even 580s. You only risked 20 cents. And then you looked for what? You looked for a nice dollar point reward, maybe to 7 or even to the top here, 750. That's $1.50 for only risking 20 cents. I'll take that anytime, guys. So definitely this was a great setup. And I just want to kind of point that out, that there is a point in time where it does make sense, even on a stock that's running and pulling on back there. This stock did break out through those levels and eventually going through that 161.8 and then really holding the retrace there. And then once it held at 8 after this breakout, man, it was looking good. Sideways action. Boom, 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 right above the VWAP, and then really started getting some volume into the close here. Now you're trading up at 12.29, man. What a move there, SBFM. All right, that's going to do it on that one. Let's go ahead. I did see next. All right, so I got about 3 minutes left, guys. If you guys got a stock you guys want to take a look at, throw it on up, guys. I still got some other things that I can talk about, but I want to go to what you guys are taking a look at. All right, so this is Next Decade Corporation. This is oil and gas. You can see here how it does these pullbacks and then eventually rips, pullbacks and eventually rips. So let's take a look here. Push, one up. I'll actually draw it out here for us. One up, one down. Two up, two down. Three up, three down. Now we know that we want to do what? We want to hold support from this point. So around the 598 level, we don't want to see that break down on the daily level. So it's okay if you get kind of a little retrace below this level tomorrow, but it shouldn't break down, let's say, through this 585 level that you got today. We're going to look for maybe a little tick down to 6, but a nice push out through 640 and 650 on the upside. Does it look bad? It actually doesn't look too bad. It's actually holding pretty well. Just needs to hold this 6 tomorrow and then get back up there towards like 640 and 660. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep it going. I'm also interested in smaller cap oil plays next. IMPP, USW. We had watched a small oil play too, BORR. How's that one continuing? Looks like it went up there to 480s. Now pulling back there below the 4. We'll see if this can continue to make runs. All right, let's go to some other stocks on out there. I see a lot of stocks being mentioned. RTX was one I was talking about today. We were looking for another push on up there with Lockheed Martin kind of changing around too. And you can see here, this one really did catch a nice bid there on the daily. You can see here, every time that it comes back to that trend line, it's held really well. And now you got that push right back up there, looking like it wants to get back to that 103 level. We'll see if RTX can get there. All right, let's keep going. What other stocks you guys got out there? Let's roll. Let's roll. Tesla being mentioned in the chat. What do you got out there? Will, I'll check it right next. Amazon calls. That's not a bad one at all. All right. I haven't even got into Target, have I? Holy moly, guys. It's just been a lot today, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's get into Target here. I do need to get into that. So I'll touch Tesla there really quickly, and then I'll get into Target. So let's take a look here. What are we going to do on Tesla? So Tesla's been a real fighter. You know, one of the things that I'll say is that you did get kind of that gap fill, right? Gap fill. Yep, it does look good here if it wants to come back up through the 1080s. So that was a good little pullback for it, actually. Now you could get that next right on up. For me, as long as it holds 1,000, I'm bullish on Tesla right now. And I do think it could keep going. It has a lot of catalysts that can come out. I did see a lot of people talking about the Gigafactory in Austin. And so just pay attention to that. There could be some news that comes out on it. And then next thing you know, you see it pushing. There's some more catalysts that could come up for Tesla. So right now, I'm definitely not bearish. And it needs to just hold that pullback. We got it closed today. And let me take a look at what was this high here. The high was 1021.80s, and today you went down towards 1021.54. So perfect level there to kind of hold your risk off of and look for that upside move. Can't blame you if you take that shot. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's go to Target here. Target was really a really nice one that got off the floor today. We ended up getting this one after multiple times missing the trade. And this happens sometimes, guys. When this first pulled back here, I had an order out at 22.50, and I did not get that fill, guys. It ended up popping back on up. I was like frustrated as hell. I was letting it come back here. Tried to get in here on this little breakdown. Didn't get a fill at first. Was kind of like, you know, watching it. Then it dropped down to 220. Then when it started recovering, and it recovered that 220.50, I said, you know what? I'm jumping in here. 22.63s. Got in there, risking off the 22.50s. Just said, you know what? I'm going to stick really closely and see if the stock can take off here. And it grabbed right around that level, got back above the VWAP, and then held the throwback there at the 21 level. Once I started seeing that, and it tested, it got close there. Boom. It started really getting some strength, and you started seeing it really take on off now. All right, so what I did was once we got through this 227 level, I actually took half of that trade off because I wanted to keep some of it for the swing trade and some of it for the daily gain. So we took half of it off there at the 227.32s, 35 level. And then it started pushing up higher. And of course I was like, man, I should have kept it. But honestly, I'm kind of happy that I sold some of it, took some of the profit. Now I'm going to really let this work because it does have resistance right here above it at the 227 and 230s. If we can get through there though, I think the stock can get back up to 240s. All right, well, we'll see what happens on this. This is Target, and it wasn't the only one that I called out. If you guys remember yesterday, I talked about Oli also, and I put it up on Benzinga's Pro Trade Ideas widget today, and you guys can see this one took off into the close, now really holding that 50 level, and that's what we're going to look for on pullbacks, for it to make sure it holds 49 and 50 and keeps closing above that, looking for that next breakout towards 54. We'll see what happens there. Ollie, and that's a Bargain Outlet Holdings. Costco also having a really big rip out day there, so we'll see what happens on that one. BJ was another really good setup that we talked about here on Money Mitch yesterday, and that nice little push up today. Another one that I'm in, guys, is Dollar Tree here. Got in this one on the pullback, sold half of it up there towards the high near 159s. Now have half of the position left. Going to keep letting this work for the swing Doesn't look bad. Dollar Tree there, especially after Dollar General with a nice breakout, guys. We looked at this one and look at that day 2 move there in Dollar General. Walmart continuing to lead. Now, one that is sleeping that could come back tomorrow if all these stay into the green. If the industry just keeps roaring, look for potentially big lots to get off of this 35 and start moving its way back to resistance. We'll see what happens on that one. Will, I did say I would cover Amazon for you, so that's going to be the last one for me. Not a bad looking play there on Amazon. The only thing is, look at this red line. And this is what I was wondering, where we're going to come back up there and really hold up there. And you can see here how we rejected. We came back down and used it as resistance. So it needs to get back up to, let's say, 33.50 there. But you can see how it's kind of in this kind of bearish pattern right now. Just make sure it holds 3,000. But it's a tough trade. I will tell you that. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's see what other ones are mentioned in the chat. Anything else? Maria, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué necesitas? ¿Español? ¿No inglés? I got you, Maria. ¿Qué necesita? All right, let's go ahead. Mitch, confirm ADM straight to 100. There you go. ADM doesn't look bad. You got clear space, right? We've been talking about this one since over here, guys, since the March 17th. Look how this one has just been kind of rising and rising, and it's the leader. It's the market cap leader too. And the other one that I've been talking about is Tyson. This one, I think you could still catch the move. So keep your eyes on Tyson to see if that one keeps pushing. And if you want to watch ADM also, take a look at Tyson, because if Tyson rips, it'll probably just help it keep riding that industry on up, and you can get that nice big move there, Ron. Not a bad play at all. Troy, great call on LAC. When should we get back in? Not a bad one, Troy. I'll take that last one there in overtime here. So I hope if you guys out there can hit the like for me. It looks like we got 171. We started with just 45. So do me the favor, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you guys appreciated this. So to me, 32.46 was an important level here. Now we need to get back up through 35. So watch that 35 level tomorrow. If we can get through that 35, I'll start taking a look at for an LAC long again. But if you guys know, I was trading LTHM, and I did close the swing trade, and I'm kind of happy because it came back all the way to my entry, guys. I got in this one at 24.80s. You can see the yellow box here. Look at this. It came right back to it. Right back to it. Right back to that. Today, we got a low of the day at 24.71. So I'm going to watch to see if this can come back roaring also up there towards, let's say, 26.50s, 27, because that could also give us a little bit of a sign that the lithium players are going to come back. Another one that you can watch is MP or PLL. We'll look for those to kind of hold. MP is an interesting one. Let's take a look at the daily chart. You can see how 52 is holding it well. It needs to just come back up roaring to 58. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Great job. Felicidades. Of course, man. I could talk Spanish if I want to. You know, I got it in me. Mardi Gras, I tune in and Mitch has gone full Spanish, full Española. Hey, tú sabes lo que estamos haciendo aquí. Haciendo el dinero. El dinero. Dinero. Look that one up. That's what it is. Dinero Mitch. Money Mitch, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Like always, catch us on live trading. We're going to do a small segment tomorrow. That's going to start at 9 a.m., go into about 10 a.m. So hit that thumbs on up. We'll see you next time. And my first language is Italian. Oh, I need to learn some Italian. We'll see what happens next time. Dinero Mitch. You guys have a good one. Take care, guys.
Check.